Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. As you can hear, the draft is now underway. I am LD of Beyond the Summit. I'm joined here by Luminous of Beyond the Summit. We are going to cast some Rattlesnake versus Orange Esports. This is, I think it's your third best of three for the G1League Phase 3 group stages. That's a big mouthful way of saying that basically we have 8 teams from Asia left standing and only 4 will qualify for the main LAN finals. Lumi, Rattlesnake versus Orange Esports. I would say, out of the games that we've seen so far, this is one of the more even matchups we will see. And I say that because I think this Group A is actually wide open. Obviously, LGD Int, LGD China, and Orange are the bigger names as organizations, as teams. But as far as team potential goes, I could easily see Rattlesnake taking a game or even a series off of any of these teams. Well, maybe not easily, but I could definitely see them doing it.
I agree that also. I thought LG and LG China would have been pretty even as well, although the results of day one, which you could catch it on the VODs of BTS, would prove otherwise. But now, Orange Esport picks up Magnus being the first hero, which is nothing too surprising, considering that he's kind of the quote-unquote most OP hero being left to pull. Keeper of Light has kind of went off the first pick, first ban kind of status. Perhaps after the nerf, but I think in Southern East Asia, he's not really regarded as high tier as some of the European/North Americans do.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's something that Xiao8 really loves for LGD China, but he's not picked up that much by other teams. I think we saw Invictus Gaming pick him once versus LGD China. I know they've still been running it in scrims, but as for Rattlesnakes, they really prefer their Darkseer Clockwork. We've seen them run that quite a bit. We saw them run it as a dual lane. I think they also ran it as 2 separate solos in a game that you cast. They just love these aggressive, tanky, early to mid game initiating tower divers. It seems like they're not as much fans of heroes like Mag, who obviously are going to be better later on in bigger engagements, but they just seem to love these heroes that create chaos. The Clockwork, the Darkseer, heroes like that, and then even sort of those semi-carries that could just be active and aggressive around the map. Gyrocopter to some extent as well, and not necessarily going for the hard carries or the late game. And I would say for Rattlesnake, the big thing when you're up against them is just maintaining your composure and not getting sloppy, because they'd love to create that chaos and just punish mistakes in the back lines.
Yeah, speaking of chaos, Lamb on the other day picked a very support gyrocopter and was able to basically kill his way up to a carry gyrocopter because he got a ton of triple kills, got a couple of tower kills, and suddenly your support gyro flat cannon becomes a very heavy semi-carry. So let's see if we're going to go towards that today, because again, it fits the playstyle you described. They want to create chaos. Flat cannon in the middle of a team fight, whether support or from a carry, does a ton of damage. But Orange Esport back to their picks, and you talked about how Tinker is a big hero in the Southern East Asian scene, as well as some of the Invoker has actually been making kind of a resurgence comeback. But I wonder what Orange is going to be pick up here. Most likely Magnus is going to be going mid, but these Southern East Asian teams, they're not afraid to run Magnus on the off lane, which I personally don't think. It's a good lane combination, but they seem to do all right with it.
Yeah, we'll see. But for now, Orange is actually going to go with something they love, which is 2 strong supports that combo well together, that can roam efficiently. Rubik and Leshrac, and obviously, if you get some kills with these 2, you can knock down some towers. We have seen teams play that carry Leshrac a bit more frequently as of late, but it's still fairly uncommon. So it's possible maybe this will be a farming Leshrac, but I'm leaning towards the support, because that's just how they've been playing as of late. I'm interested that they picked both up now. They must assume that Rattlesnakes is going to be banning out the combo heroes if they don't take the full might of it now. And often you'll see teams just say get the Rubik here, they maybe go back for the Chen or even a carry of some kind, but Orange says no, we want the Rubik Leshrac pair, so let's see what they do with it.
Yeah, most of the other heroes are quite quote-unquote replaceable. I mean, sure, you could ban a carry, but there's other kind of replacing carries. Leshrac's kind of a very unique hero in the sense that a support that could push very well or early on. Not many other supports could do that. Juggernaut's going to be the reply here for the Rattlesnake, which is not something I personally understand. It's going to give you the early game killing power with the help of Shadow Demon Disruption to lead an opening, but I mean, you're not really running a big push where you need a healing ward, which is why mostly Juggernaut is picked up. So I think we're going to have to wait and see a couple more drafts to exactly explain why Juggernaut is picked up so early.
Yeah, Rattlesnake, I mean, he sort of fits their style, but in terms of just heroes' versatility, Juggernaut not the most versatile when you don't have a hero like Lone Druid to combo with him for that strong early push. But he is fantastic just for tower diving, can be paired up with Shadow Demon, plus, say, Alina. Tinker now the ban by Orange Esports. I actually haven't seen Rattlesnakes run this, but obviously a hero that's annoying to play against. You've cast more of their games than me, so I'm not sure about the Tinker ban, but
10 seconds.
For RNG Sports, they don't really have that hero for Mushi yet. The Magnus has been getting played primarily by Ohio, I think, and occasionally by KYXY if they run an offlane. And this game, no clear idea who he'll be matched up with if he goes mid, which is generally what we assume he'll be up against. They're banning the Panda now, so they're worried about that tower diving from Rattlesnake. They are worried about the early to mid game aggression, and banning heroes like Panda is the perfect way to deal with it.
Yeah, when you have Magnus, generally Panda ban is pretty smart. You don't want your Magnus being thrown up in the air for 6 seconds at a time. But it feels like Orange actually is very capable of taking some tower dive team fights because Magnus jumping in as a counter initiate, as well as Leshrac throwing out a whole bunch of AoE damage. I feel like Orange is being fine. I think these are heroes that they just don't want to play against. Meanwhile, Rattlesnake is spanning out a fairly powerful initiator in the Storm Spirit. So I think they're going to be looking towards to pick up some sort of a very squishy initiator in a sense, or hero that really needs a little bit of protection. Shadow Demon is a great protection hero. Same thing with Clockwork, and they just want to. Again, I'm a little bit confused. Hopefully the draft will explain itself later on.
Well, this one makes sense. They want to get rid of that tri-lane. They'll ban out the Lina, so they don't have the Shadow Demon disruption into a stun into Blade Fury. If they go for that tri-lane, maybe they get something like a twin-headed dragon for Ice Path. Rattlesnake, with their last ban, they are the ones to ban out the Dark Seer, even though they've been favoring it a lot themselves. And Orange will now go for a TA, so this will throw the lanes a bit into a different formation. We're likely to see that TA going mid. I imagine maybe, is it Mushi taking that mid role? Something he's done here and there for Orange since they've had their new roster. When they first had the new roster, it was always Ohio going mid, Mushi taking the safe lane 1 role, and then we had KYXY as the off lane, Extinct as the 4 playing the junglers or the secondary support, and Net as the hard support. It was very clear and straightforward. But when they started losing some games, they started mixing things up. Occasionally, Mushi would go mid, Ohio would play the safe lane farmer, so I think he even did play a safe lane Magnus one game. KYXY has generally been sticking to the off lane, but potentially something different from the lanes. And right now, when you look at these lineups, well, unless Rattlesnake is doing a lot of roaming, TA is going to be fine 1v1 against any of these heroes.
Maybe not against Clockwork, especially if there's some decent mana burns from the cogs. But yeah, for the most part, TA is going to be okay. And having the Leshrac pickup it works out so well because Leshrac's actually a fine counter to Templar Assassin, especially during the mid game when your Post Nova does a ton of damage, as well as a Diabolic Edict just eats through that refraction charge. But for now, Lion's going to get the pickup. We could explain the why Storm is a counter. Generally, both the heroes kind of counter each other. Storm could get zipped in and pulled and instantly die. On the flip note, Lion kind of eats Storm alive as well. But still, not sure what exactly Juggernaut, how he fits. I mean, he's a very powerful tri-lane.
It could be a Lion solo as well. I mean, we could see another support picked up. We used to see Lion solo mid as a very common thing. He's also fantastic against Magnus, just like a Rubik, where he skewers in, you just hex him, you just impale him, and then you walk away. The hex being an instant cast. There's really no way for Magnus to get an RP off if your Lion is quick enough and he's in the right position. Even once he has a Blink Dagger, you can still hex him when he jumps in. It's a lot harder then, but it's possible. And they go back for the Morphling, so potentially it looks like we're looking at the Mushi safe lane Morphling, as Lau is going to pick up a Shadow Fiend to round out this draft. And so the Mushi safe lane Morphling, the Ohio Templar Assassin going mid. Man, it's so weird to cast Orange and not have Mushi playing the TA, but his Morphling was fantastic in the GST challenge. They're going to turn to it here again, and it will be KYXY on the Magnus. So the lane's now making a lot more sense. We're going to see an off lane or jungling Magnus. Might have to just be in the jungle depending on what his matchup is going to be. As for Rattlesnake, Lumi, they love to run the aggressive tri-lane, and something maybe we'll see it again here, even though they have a Lion, which is not by any means the strongest tri-lane support.
I think if you're Rattlesnake, you run that defensive tri-lane, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Rattlesnake is going to be playing on the Dire today. Lamb's going to be handling that line with the new Lion set. Kaboo going to be playing that Clockwork. Icy playing the Juggernaut. Looks like, well, it seems like it's going to be offensive tri-lane as they're all walking on the bot lane, but most likely, or maybe just dropping a couple wards, Sage or Neo is going to be handling Shadow Demon. And that is going to be it for the Dire team.
I want to say I think they might be going aggressive tri-lane. Kabu is going mid. He's rushing a bottle. And Lau headed to the safe lane. So it will be an aggressive tri-lane, most likely. And that's with a Juggernaut, Lion, Shadow Demon. Not the strongest tri-lane, it needs to be said, and Morphlane is not really a good hero to lane against with this tri-lane, because how are you going to kill him? You've just a Hex and Impale, which at early levels are not long enough disables to bring him down, and he can always simply waveform away. Juggernaut Blade Fury can catch a hero like Rubik out of position, or a Leshrac potentially, and kill them. Leshrac's going to be tougher because he has really high base move speed 3, so unless you're already on top of him, he can run away, but if the supports are well positioned, I think finding kills is going to be rather hard for Rising Stars. What they may look to do is just kind of contest the creep pull with Blade Fury. So anyway, on the side of RG Sports, we have Net playing that 5-position Rubik, Observers and Sentries for him, Mushi on the Morphling, and by the way, we have a new Mushi face for the BTS chat, so feel free to exercise your chat muscles now if you're a subscriber. Extinct on the Listrak, he'll be playing the secondary support role. And last but not least, Ohio going solo mid. And then actually last but not least, KYXY on the offlane Magnus. Early Stout Shield picked up. They are anticipating the aggressive tri-lane because it looks like KYXY has built himself to go into the lane. You don't really need a Stout Shield if you're jungling as Magnus. You can really just start off rushing a bottle and just constantly spamming Shockwave on creeps. So I imagine he expects that 1v1, probably versus a hero like the Shadow Fiend, and the Stout Shield could be very helpful there. So all things considered, Lumi, I think Orange have predicted these lanes from Rising Stars, or from Rattlesnakes.
Yeah, the Stout Shield is definitely a telltale sign on Magnus to say that we know this is going to be a 1v1 matchup. If he's going to be going jungle, he's going to be safe. You're going for a different build, maybe rushing that bottle. And personally, how do you actually feel about this matchup between Shadowfiend and Magnus? Because as we've seen in the past, if Shadowfiend gets his first free farm for 10 minutes, he just snowballs out of control. He's actually one of the most dangerous snowball hero. This really explains why Stormster is being banned, because you don't have a really reliable way to kill this hero early on. And we've seen CTY in the Vichy Gaming Squad, and he just does beautiful things once he gets his Shadow Blade and Mask of Madness. How do you feel in terms of Magnus? Is he able to shut him down? Is he able to slow him down?
I think Magnus is in some ways the better matchup versus Shadow Fiend. We saw a Darkseer versus CTY Shadow Fiend the last time, and early on I think the Darkseer is more annoying because you can creep skip, you could basically force him to last hit under the tower. But remember, CTY was pulled, so he started I think with a Wraith Band and then some extra regen. Lao has not been pulled, and that's going to make this lane just a little bit harder for him. We might have an early level 1 clash. But later on, the thing is with Ion Shell, you'll never really do damage to a Shadow Fiend once he gets to level 5, because whenever you try to dive him, with the creeps he'll just raise them, and the creeps will die. So you don't actually get to do damage, whereas with Shockwave, you can always be spamming it. It's always going to be a nuisance because it's instant damage. It can be done from long range. So I actually think later on in the matchup, Magnus does just as well, if not better, even though generally you'd think Darkseer is the stronger 1v1 hero. And on top of that, Lao hasn't been pulled, like I mentioned, so this could be a tough matchup for him. I mean, Magnus not rushing a bottle. Both heroes are going to need a lot of regen, especially that Shadow Fiend. Not unlikely to see him going Tranquil Boots, I think. It could be the case, but he'll need something. Whether it's Tranquil Boots, whether it's bottle, he won't be able to just go for that free farm, hard carry Shadow Fiend build, because he will be under duress, and he won't have that extra regen that we're accustomed to seeing for a safe lane Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, not only that, Shadow Fiend might actually be... I mean, if he takes too many shockwaves, a skewer it into RP, those solo kills that you don't expect in those 1v1 matchup can come out quite easily. But it looks like mid lane is going to be that 1v1 build. Both players rushing for the bottle. Cogs at level 1, and I mean, Templar Assassin has a fairly low mana pool, especially if you're spamming that refreshen. And there you go, immediate drain.
Wow.
That's 80 mana down the drain.
Look at that. Look at that.
All gone.
Those cogs, man. It looks like you're not even touching them, and then next thing you know, you're losing all your mana. Ohio, not off to a good start. He's really rushing the bottle, and he should be able to farm it up. Clockwork can't really kill a hero like TA unless he's pulled Sentry Wards. Maybe at level 1, but you don't have Battery Assault, so not going to be able to kill Ohio, but can do a lot of harassment. Now he has his bottle. He went for an ultra greedy eco build, so the tri-lane Lumi. It's a tri-lane with a Lion. Looking at this lane right now, they have not warded the pull. It looks like they want to contest that pull. Will they be able to do so? I think it's going to be tough if there's good positioning, and it's Mud Golems, which in this case actually favors Orange, because Juggernaut can't come in and Blade Fury the creeps. Lion can't come in and just try and impale them. You can't snipe them with Shadow Poison. They're going to look to contest, but doing so, going to be tough. We'll have to see if they can find that opening. Net has that below average base move speed. He's the hero who needs to be careful, because he's also the counter initiate. You don't want to get caught by that Juggernaut. Oh no! Say, Mike cast him. Catch him. Here we go. There's your disruption. They're not in range for a Blade Fury, but the stun, the block is perfect, and it looks like they might be able to bring Net down. This will be a first blood. Oh, he was just a split second late, tangoing through. He turned around, and that was all they needed. Well, that was just great play from Rattlesnake. And unfortunately, the little opening that was cut in the creep camp for the double pull is what got him killed, because it's what allowed Rattlesnake to just come right through and catch him in time.
Yeah, the Radiant really want to kind of get that jungle advantage by denying the whole wave, which if you actually get a successful deny off, that tri-lane is dead, because they would never even compete in terms of EXP. Like you said, Morphling's not going to die, so if the support play in good position, then the trialing would be okay, but that's not what happened.
And that was just, I mean, if Net wanted to play it safe, he could have just ran around like so. You know, just basically taking the longer path. They have a ward. They saw that. And unfortunately, there's a sentry ward in the camp that hasn't been blocked. Net's going to have to blow 2 of his own to de-ward. So that is a number of big victories. Looking back to the top lane, well, in spite of not being pulled, look at our farm on Lao. He's already 10-6, 16 last hits. He's going to have max souls for the level that he's at, which is only 1 point necromastery. Now the lane gets hard for Magnus. When the enemy Shadow Fiend is this good of a start, without having any sort of pulled regen or additional damage, you're in trouble. It will get harder from here. He can Battle Crow. He'll get levels. And then looking at the mid lane, the other solo lane, Kabu doing a sensational job. 13-2 against the Templar Assassin. And a lot of this is because of the cog spam. I don't think Ohio's been able to last hit consistently with Refraction, something you're normally accustomed to doing versus a melee hero.
Yeah, I mean, generally, in the Templar Assassin mid lane, starting with the 3 GG branches, you rush that bottle. He's actually bringing a boots of speed. He knows that the bottle is not going to be too effective because all of his mana will be spammed away, so he's going to be looking for any extra harass that he's going to get. Oh, he does have the bottle after the boots of speed. Well, actually pretty good farm for Templar Assassin. But still, that boots of speed early could prove to be a little bit dangerous for Kabu, but he's going to have his boots coming in the next Courier Fairy as well.
Well, there's no mana to burn anymore, so Ohio is sort of laughing to himself like, man, this lane sucks, but at least it can't suck anymore because I have nothing left to lose. Only things to gate at this point, feeling a bit emo perhaps. This Net lurks in the trees. Maybe looking for a lift in on Sag, could potentially pull him in over the tree line. There's no Observer Ward behind the tower. They did reward the camp with a Sentry Ward this time, by the way, and Orange, well, they're really poor. They're going to need boots on their supports, and this is one clever thing about running an offensive China with the Juggernaut is if you contest the pull and force them to blow money on wards, that delays their boots, Slimmy, and delaying boots against a hero like Juggernaut is how you keep on getting kills. So I love the emphasis they're putting into throwing sentries, observers in the camp. Even if it costs them, it's going to cost Orange more because any boots their supports might get will be delayed, and that means Blade Fury even scarier.
Yeah, and especially with that first kill going to Rattlesnake, those pulls get a little bit more dangerous as you're under level compared to the supports on the Dire, who most likely is going to be up on terms of experience to you. Here we go, the creep wave is pushing towards Rattlesnake, and that's more room for them to farm. And as you're playing support on the orange side, you got to be extremely careful. Can't really walk up too much, and if you're doing for the pull, well, you don't know if the support's going to be swinging around, which they do. They have the Observer Ward warding down the river as well as seeing the jungle camp. But for now, Rattlesnake taking a fairly commanding position. You can see that Juggernaut's farming freely in offensive trialing, which is not something that you normally expect, but he's getting that privilege right now.
Holy shit, 24-11 on Shadow Fiend. We're 5 minutes in, he's got a total of 36 last hits. That is just ridiculous. I mean, he wasn't even pulled. I can't emphasize this enough. Every safe lane Shadow Fiend we've seen, even Zhou, when Zhou goes to that safe lane, we've always seen him getting pulled by IG when they run the offensive tri lane. He'll get that safe lane additional regen. Lao hasn't even taken it. They go on Juggernaut bottom lane, but I really don't think that's the hero you want to initiate on. They agree. They will back off. They have a smoke on Extinct, and I mean, maybe this is something you look to use because realistically, I don't think Mushi's going to die in this lane once he has boots, which I imagine he'll buy now. And you know, your supports, maybe they'll do something more if they're headed towards mid.
Well, the thing is, Clockwork's kind of a difficult gank, especially when there's no man on Templar Assassin ever. So, well, Traps is being...
Oh no, bottom lane. Here we go. Blade Fury into Disruption, but they go back for a 2-hero impale. Catches Net, as well as Mushi. Net thrown up in the air, but the Shadow Poison secures the kill. Man up for Mushi. He wants to get some revenge. Mushi unleashing his rage on this lane. Lanham likely to take a fall as well. He misses the stun. He doesn't get Mushi. It could be a wipe. It will be a wipe. 3 kills, triple for Mushi, and disaster for Rattlesnake, who looked like they would just pick an easy kill on a support and walk away. Mushi says, hell no.
Man, Extinct Split Earth was so good there. It's a level 1 Split Earth. Those are pretty difficult to land, certainly without any setup. Icy's gonna teleport back. Not sure why he's foraying into the side shop there, but Lamb missing that Impale was huge. Obviously, ground target. I think he wanted both heroes, but he got neither, and that cost him another kill on that tri lane. And suddenly the tri lane is being heavily won by Orange. Suddenly those Sentry Ward that they de-ward, it doesn't matter too much as a support will have goal for boots of speed, and they don't really need to get ganked on the mid lane anymore. You can see that immediately rotation up top. They need to kill this Shadow Fiend. Is Magnus 6? He is, and he will have the skewer RP combo. So if things go alright, they will shut down Shadow Fiend as well, and things should be okay for Orange Esport.
Oh, they updated the items chart a little bit. I see some colors here. Pretty cool. stuff, not really that important. But to go back to what you're saying, I totally agree. I would like to see that Shadow Fiend gank, and if you're on Rattlesnake, you would love to see teleport scrolls on their supports to protect him. The thing is, they don't have any right now. They also don't have one on Kabu, so if you see that, then that's go time for Orange. Templar Assassin mid with a haste turn, you could easily kill that Shadow Fiend. And he's got Tranquil Boots, which will not be very useful when you're running once you get caught, because you only get 25 move speed. You're actually quite slow with them. They're fine in lane. We understand why Lau needs them, because he needs that HP regen versus constant Shockwave span and constant bottle crowing from KYXY. But later on, not going to do much for you. Not going to do much for you when you're actually getting ganked. So I agree. I would love to see a Shadow Fiend gank, and I'd love to see it coming in the next minute or two with this haste run on Ohio.
It's coming up right now. I mean, Rubik just teleported up top to tier 2 immediately after his death. He recognized that you have to stop him now because he will snowball out of control. Let's see if Rattlesnake senses that one, because support's been missing for quite a bit. Here comes KYXY. He doesn't actually have too much mana to work with.
No, he needs his bottle. And on top of that, Net's only level 2. So I don't know if they have all the damage they need. This is actually going to be fairly close. Lau's at 740 HP. It's going to be like... And KYXY is only level 6. I actually don't think they can kill him with these two Lumi. I think they need at least level 7 on KYXY. Maybe one more hero to do it.
Well, they're going to at least go for... I think lifting back in conjunction with Skewer and another Fable, it will be close, but it should be good. And Shockwave.
The Courier. The Courier might scout them out. It's coming right now. Nope, it's not going to quite cross over Net. It's a lot of wasted time for him. Also, unfortunately for Orange, Net died first in that engagement bottom, so he didn't get anything. Extinct is level 5, Net is level 2. You would really rather have those roles traded with your Rubik getting some more levels than a Leshrac, I think.
Well, it looks like we do have Neil using his poison spam to check if there's a pull going on. Looks like he is going to try to set up a gank on the mid lane, but there's a haste rune you talked about in conjunction with Melvin Fraction. I don't think they get that kill, so not sure exactly what the rotation is coming from Rattlesnake. They got to go back on the bot lane. But, I mean, Icy, despite his death, is farming rather well, to be honest.
They're going to send Ohio top. They want to get this kill. They want it bad. Haste turned up on him. I think Lau is wise, though, because they saw there was no pulling, so now they know that Rubik has to be doing something else on the map. Going for a gank, going for a smoke, and here comes the backstep. Here comes the tower dive. But now there should be teleport scrolls. There's 3 up on Rattlesnake, Shadow Demon, Lion, as well as Clockwork. Immediate TPs. They were ready, but are they going to be fast enough? Lau's low. He'll get disrupted, and Orange may just say, time to back. No, they want in. Max Skewer's in. Head full of stream. Drops the RP. How many will they lose for this kill? That's the real question. Nobody just yet. KYXY has a teleport. He'll TP out, but the hook gonna land. It looks like T8 will be the one to take a fall. They also catch KYXY with an impale in the woods, so when it's all said and done, they'll get both of these key initiators. And you gotta say, they got the Shadow Fiend, but they blew RP and they lost 2 solos. I don't really think it's worth it.
Well, they also drew 2 teleport scrolls from supports.
Maybe that's true. Maybe it is.
I mean, that's really expensive investment for the supports. And, of course, Mushi's going to be pressuring up the tower. Maybe you get an Edict off and you get a ton of damage. At the end of the day, in terms of the 2v1 trade, I agree with you. I don't think it is worth it, especially losing an RP, as well as a Templar Assassin, which you want to actually snowball out of control. But they do shut down the Shadow Fiend. So I think it's fairly even, even though the 2v1 innately suggests this Orange advantage.
Yeah, with the investment of the teleport scrolls, as well as the fact that Mushi got more free farm time while that was happening. He's still behind Icy, but as this lane progresses, it gets easier and easier for Mushi to farm. So overall, I agree with you. I think it's a bit more even than what I was initially suggesting. Mushi now, Ring of a Kill up. He's not having that powerful start. When we saw him play Morphling last time, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was just free farming all game, basically uncontested. That is definitely not the case this time around. And looking at net worth, he's pretty even with Shadow Fiend, but he's not far ahead. And we'll have to see if he can keep the pace. So Shadow Fiend is going to be the faster farmer in the jungle compared to a Morphling.
Yeah, also last time when he played Morphling, he didn't have to go up against a Lion, and a farm Lion at that. He's level 6. And, I mean, Hexus is no joke, and that's going to force Morphling to actually go for a Lincoln Sphere build, which is not a bad build by any means, but it's going to really limit his impact in the game early on. So the first 20-25 minutes, Morphling is not going to do too much, aside from the regular KSS he's going to try to do with that waveform.
Yeah, for the moment, just settling into a more defensive playstyle from both teams. If this goes later, I assume would you agree that we really have to give this heavily to Orange? I mean, they have RP, they have multiple cores, they have 2 heroes that scale well, and the Templar Assassin, the Morphling. They have Empower on their side, they have Rubik who can maybe steal something like Impale or Hex. So if this goes late enough, I would say it favors Orange. We're not really close to that point, but how do you feel about that?
It's actually pretty hard to say, as Rattlesnake will run past Observe War in this gank. We'll get scouted out. Let's see if the Radiant wants to counter gank this instead. No, War's going to go back. It's actually a little bit hard to say. I feel like Lion is one of the more underrated late game supports. Basically, having a free side advice is, no joke, especially a 4-second one. But with that said, heroes like Clockwork, heroes like Juggernaut, they're not known for being the late game potential. So, and Morphling definitely is. So, I'm gonna hand it to you like that. Meanwhile, though, the Dire definitely has the mid game advantage.
Yeah, they do. They also kind of want to set the tempo, and I'd like to see them put some farm priority on getting Lamb's Blink Dagger. Maybe not right now, but over the next 5-10 minutes. You really want to have that blink up by like the 20-minute mark so you can start to make things happen. They've left Icy alone bottom lane. He is very much, that Juggernaut is very much like a lifestealer, where you could leave him alone, and most compositions just can't punish him being solo off lane. Maybe they can keep him out of CS range, but they can't stop him from getting some experience and getting a little bit of farm here and there. So they've rotated away from this bottom lane, but they're giving Mushi more space. The trade is Shadow Fiend having a whale of a time. Lao up to 67 CS. Unfortunately, with that death and not getting the kills that Mushi got earlier, he's actually still really not ahead at all. They're pretty much dead even, in fact.
Yeah, I mean, Rubik sat on top lane for like a minute or so, didn't get too much accomplished, and he's going to go on the bot lane. And we're going to see, like you talked about, Juggernaut's going to be very difficult to kill. They have to basically kill him during the lift and splurf, which can be done. I mean, he's not exactly the tankiest hero. They do lift, splurf, and they're going to try. Where's the waveform? No waveform. They saw the line coming in. It would have been extremely close, but they noticed that he had high magic wand. So if they didn't get a kill, they were going to get turned around. So good choice on not going there.
I think they had the kill there, but Mushi just didn't want to risk his own life because there is a Finger of Death online, and he's sitting on 1200 HP. He's actually very heavily strength morphed for what you normally see out of a safe lane morph. Normally, you morph heavily to agility, and you just have a free time last hitting, but I think this is mainly because of the Lion. He's worried about getting Hex, Impale, Fingered, and if you're sitting around 800, 900 health, which is what you are when you're more heavily agility morph, you just die to that combo with any sort of follow-up. If you're even lower, you just die flat out to the Lion alone. So that is hurting Mushi CS a little bit. I've seen him miss a couple of last hits, something that normally isn't the case, but now he's doing a little bit better. Top lane, then they go in KYX way. RP was blown just for Lao. In comes Ohio. I don't think they're going to get this kill. In fact, Ohio, out of refraction already. He'll pop some fresh ones, but here comes the Shadow Fiend, and now Kabu. He's got a haste rune. He needs to hit those cogs. He's looking. While this is happening, Juggernaut dies bottom lane, but they get the kill on Ohio. 2 for 1. The two solos biting the dust again. And it seems like maybe you just don't go gank the Shadow Fiend, because Rattlesnakes is not going to let you kill him without you being forced to give up 3-4 kills. Bottom lane, Mushi waving in on the Lanham, driving him back, but won't be able to go for the kill just yet.
Yeah, I maybe agree. I mean, you have to shut down the Shadow Fiend, but these kills or kill attempts are being way too pricey. Templar Assassin has nothing on the mid lane. He's got a Bracer. I mean, that's not an item that you generally see Templar Assassin go for. I feel like the defensive heroes like Shadow Demon and Clockwork working out fairly well so far, because maybe they expect the gank going against the Shadow Fiend and they're protecting him fine. With Observer Ward walking the lane like this, yeah, there you go, the one that's circling, that helps out so much on Shadow Fiend. And he's got 2,500 gold. That will be a Shadow Blade in about 400 gold or so, if that's what he wants. Or if you can see a little bit more old school Blink Dagger, but I think Shadow Blade's just a lot better.
It's really got to be the Shadow Blade or the BKB, because Blink Dagger used to be such a great item on Shadow Fiend, but you just get so much DPS from Shadow Blade. Not to mention you force them to buy sentries and observe additional wards, dust even, potentially a gem later sooner than they would like. It's such a tax on the support, so I don't really see the point of going Blink Dagger unless you're messing around in a pub. But BKB, another viable option if they just want to take the fights head on. With the BKB, how are they going to kill him? They don't have that much physical damage right now because Mushi isn't particularly farmed. Templar Assassin could, in theory, do it, but it seems like the story of this game for Ohio is just getting kited and focused down on these fights. So will he be able to auto-tech? I'm not sure. And as a result, BKB could be viable, but I'm with you. I really think the Shadow Blade is the premier build on Shadow Fiend nowadays. And I mean, hey, it's in the name, right? Shadows for a shadow, but it just gives you so much map control. He'll TP home. He's just about got that blade now if he wants it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, there's a Shadow Blade being picked up. I like to see Shadow Blade into BKB. And Hookshot's gonna go in the mid lane here against Ohio. Soulcatcher on top. Do they have ways to actually see him?
Nothing. And that battery assault will not affect you while you're invis. But if he comes out, he's gonna have to find that opening to run here soon. The Shadow Poison is taking him down. He's invis. He's waiting to melt. He's calling for backup. Now he's cogged again. More Shadow Poison. He'll pop the refraction. Now he makes his great escape, and he will be able to get out. It looks like Kabu could continue this chase, but this is getting increasingly dangerous. Meanwhile, bottom lane, huge action breaking out onto Lao, who will turn around, kills off Mushi with the Shadow Blade. They lose 3. They dive the tower, and it looks like they just got caught out by the Lao Shadow Blade. They did no sentries, they had no detection, and they were diving the tower. Oh boy, they didn't get the kill on the TA, but Rattlesnake's getting all the kills. It seems like Orange is just being punished by their own over-aggression in this game, and Rattlesnakes is fully prepared for it and baiting them into it.
Yeah, and here's that healing ward doing some work, healing up the creep wave as well as a hero. And of course, Lao's putting out huge damage. He's hitting for 172. We're 15 minutes in, guys. And tower on bot lane goes down. And suddenly, if you're playing support on Orange side, you can't even walk in the jungle because there is a Shadow Fiend walking around. Like, those are free kills for him. So I don't know what the Orange supports will be doing, to be honest.
Look at Extinct. He's got Arcane Boots. He's sitting on 650 HP. That's a Shadowblade auto tech. A raise, maybe 2 raises, and he's dead. Possibly even 1 once he gets a couple more levels and damage items. And remember, he's also got that minus armor now coming from Presence of the Dark Lord, so his auto techs are going to hit even harder. And Rubik, 650 HP, just sitting on basic boots. So they need sentries all over the map, but they are so poor, Lumi, from their early movements and from their early deaths, that they can't really afford them. It's like playing against a Nyx assassin, except in a sense scarier because Shadow Fiend can kill you a lot quicker than a Nyx can. And he also could do it freely. That Shadowblade is a very low cooldown. At least Vendetta at the early levels, you have to wait a bit over a minute before you can use it again. Yeah,
Nyx Assassin's quite good of a comparison, aside from the fact that he could also split push and do all these other crazy things and late game carry and all that. Looks like they're going to look towards KYXY on the top lane, who, you know, he's got his Arcane Boots, but he's picking up a Bracer because there's a line around. Oh no, Purge up top. He's going to have to skewer out of there, but Shadowblade could easily catch up. They're not going to jump that under a tower, especially against teleportation from, let's say, Rubik or Leshrac is going to be somewhat dangerous, but they don't really care. They can push across, get the tier 1 tower basically for free. I think they could even go for tier 2, to be honest.
Man, Cabo is being such a pain in the ass mid. If he was top, I think they probably would have gone for the fight there as he pops an Invisor and he waddles down the middle lane. But normally your TA solo mid up, they're looking for a gank on Ohio. If they get a Hex, he's in trouble. Actually, they don't even need it. Dust deployed. No escape for Ohio this time. He'll get hooked. He'll get impaled. They could, no finger, but they don't even need it. They bring him down with the Earn Charge and the Hex. But he's just been stopping the split push of the TA by spamming cogs, by disrupting the creeps. Normally, Templar Assassin can just push the wave down if she can't go gank. It's something she can get in return, sort of like a Shadow Fiend, but she can't do it this game. With the cogs, with the rocket spam, can't even push the lane. The tier 1 hasn't taken that much damage, and like you said, they're going to go for more. We thought maybe tier 2 top, but no, they want this tier 1 mid, and they're going to get it, no problem.
Yeah, and all these early towers is allowing the supports as well as the solo mid on Kabu pick up all these really nice HP and MP items. Lamb upgrades his Arcane Boots, which is... Blink Dagger is always nice, but having Arcane Boots to sustain the push and make sure you reliably cast Finger is always nice. We do see a point booster. The value point booster is always good, and of course, if you upgrade to the hookshot, or Acceptor hookshot, it's really, really intimidating in team fight. Being able to initiate and re-initiate later on is pretty nice. And of course, Shadow Fiend getting more and more out of control. I mean, he's going to have BKB in about 5 to 6 minutes. And I'm not sure, again, like you said, Orange have that answer. RP is a way to stop it, but you're not killing him with that BKB online.
They have it late. They have it, but it's not until much later in the game. I mean, if the game goes late enough, a Shadow Fiend with a BKB isn't really that scary because you have Morphling and Templar Assassin and Empower as well as RP. So you have ways to deal with him, but it's a long way off. I mean, they're not going to have damage items for quite some time. As Mushi is going Lincoln Sphere, hasn't even gotten the ultimate orb yet. Normally, if you're having free farm, you'd have your Lincoln Sphere around the 17, 18-minute mark, along with your treads, your basic items. That's like basically ideal farm for a Morphling, and he's not farming that badly considering how the lane started, but under 100 CS at 18 minutes, this is not Mushi free farm status, and as a result, those damage items will be delayed. The one thing for me is Orange, they can't really take a heads-on clash and defend their towers unless they have a Blink Dagger on KYXY. Once they do, they have a shot. He could still be disrupted by a nice Clockwork Hook, but potentially they can take the fight. Without it, they're forced to just forfeit tower after tower, and knowing that there's no Blink up yet on the mag, or at least suspecting there's not, Rattlesnakes are thinking about Roche. They've gotten all the tier 1s, and they're looking to just extend their lead here.
And that's the strange thing to me. KYXY isn't farming for that Blink Dagger. He's actually trying to set up a gank, which, that's fine, but without those Blink Dagger, like you're right, they can't challenge out Roshan right now. They can't defend any of their towers. They're giving farm to Mushi right now to finish his Lincoln Sphere, but I almost have to say that that Blink Dagger is just more important than Mushi's farm right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't even disagree with you that much, because, well, not necessarily this second, but if they want to give up Roche, fine, but it's not like Rattlesnakes are going to stop. They're going to take Roche, they're going to come right at your tier 2s, and then you need to be able to defend them, and if you don't have a Blink by then, what are you going to do? He's only level 10 as well, so RP, only level 1. Currently, he's got a slightly longer cooldown time, the damage isn't quite as good. That's not that big of a deal. But even the stun scales pretty significantly, 0.75 per level. So now Rattlesnake smokes up right after taking Roche. This should be pretty obvious to Ohio. He's gone drums. Normally we see the Yasha, the Blink Dagger. Oh no, he's going to get caught at the tower. I can't believe he ran in there. They just got Roche. They're all off the map. But now he's going to get caught out and brought down. An Omni Slash catching off Leshrac. A second one into the meat grinder. Orange, known sometimes for not the strongest mid-game decision-making as a team. I think we're seeing that here, Lumi, is the laning stage didn't really go their way, and sometimes playing like total bosses, but this game, really having trouble with Rattlesnake.
Yeah, really good dive here by Rattlesnake, and not overextending it. Normally you get 2 kills for free, but back in the mid lane here, they're going to focus on Mushi. Mushi's out of mana at this point. He got 4 wand charges, got a Trist, which should make it out there. He does, and he does make it out, and that should
There's
be
a
fine.
hook.
Well, okay, it's going to come here. It's not going to hit the Mushi, and they're going to go net, but net with... Oh, no! Finger death.
From downtown, Lanham jams it in, and an easy one at that.
That's a Blink Dagger.
Oh god, Lion has his Blink Dagger. Is it before the Magnus? It's going to be about the same time. This is a 4 position Lion, but in an offensive tri-lane at that, who didn't get much farm. What's his score right now? 4, 1, and 4. This is a roaming Lion. Lanham has just been so effective this game on a hero who is not known for his early to mid game prowess, but he's made it work.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Shadow Fiend is forcing the Radiant team to play aggressive early on and allow Lion to really counter gank, which is, I mean, if you hit those 2-man impales, it's free kills for the Shadow Fiend as well as Luo. And of course, he doesn't have to spend too much gold on warding, considering the fact that the Radiant supports are not really mostly ganking your mid. They're ganking the Shadow Fiend, who could easily defend. That's allowing him to get extra gold for Arcane as well as Blink. And of course, when you're 4-1-4, that is going to give you the Blink. So I think Lion's looking pretty good so far. I want to see Rattlesnake put on even more pressure, though. Get that tier 2 mid, get that tier 2 bot, because at this point, with BKB on Shadow Fiend, as well as Aegis, he is unstoppable.
Yeah, not just that. Look at Kabu. Aghanims, Embracer, and Power Treads. I mean, this guy could go in and just soak up everything. TA, honestly, not even going to scratch him. I mean, we saw it in that fight when Mushi was trapped in the cogs. He has a decent amount of agility now. He's sitting on about 100 agility. I think he had a similar amount in that engagement. And he was barely even denting that Clockwork's armor. Barely even putting a scratch in it. They're going to have trouble bringing Clockwork down. And Clockwork is such an important hero to kill off in fights. I mean, you might not think it. Oh, yeah, he throws at his hooks. He throws on his cogs. He's done. Wrong. Cogs do not have that long of a cooldown. If you get 2, 3 off in a prolonged team fight, that is disastrous for your team. Battery Assault, the same thing. Something that's very disruptive, especially for casters. If you catch a Magnus, potentially won't even be able to get off the RP, or even if he does, it won't be a good one if he's trapped alone in the cogs and eating Battery Assault many stuns. So all these heroes getting farmed, like you said earlier, they're a mid-game team, and they're very strong. But at that Mushi, he gets baited out. He will eat a lot of damage here. He can't even Strength Morph. He's caught. Now he'll go down. Actually, it looks like he was Strength Morph at the last second, but it's too late. You can't activate all your Hex, and by the time he could, the damage was done. And by the way, that was without a Finger of Death. Now Net on the run. He could get caught as well. No vision for him. Blinking from Lamb just a second late. They're all running for their lives. KYXY has picked up his Blink. He'll need to skewer. The hook, fishing, not going to connect. But Rattlesnake, they are coming, and they're feeling strong.
Yeah, it seems like the Radiant team wanted to get a kill on Shadow Fiend with 3 support heroes trailing in. With the Blink RP, they were about to actually use a lot of spells to get that kill on Shadow Fiend, but ultimately, I think it was a very poor decision to go there. He has Aegis, he has BKB respawn, so even if you throw 3 or 4 heroes at him, he's not going to die quickly enough without backup. And, I mean, I think losing the Morphling there was the kind of...
The only thing I could think of is they wanted to pop the Aegis and get out. But the thing is, the tier 2's still up, so potentially you just die. Hook's going to fly and not going to connect. But I agree with you. I mean, that's an incredibly dangerous gank for... Well, getting the Aegis is nice, but very risky, and we saw the results. Once again, it's just Rattlesnake being prepared for the movements of Orange.
Yep, and of course, with the Axe Scepter up, you can miss those clock hook shots. It doesn't matter. It has a 10-second cooldown, so they're going to slowly siege it down. All these traps slowing it down actually doesn't do much, especially with the healing ward backing everybody. Another trap being ignored.
Yeah, this is not really doing a whole lot, and we'll see another hook. Likely, right as this tower's about to die, Kabu will throw one in. If he catches out the Magnus, that's an unmitigated disaster for that Mag. He's likely to lose almost all of his mana escaping from the cogs. He'll be caught up by the battery cell, he'll be disrupted, and they can burst anyone down. He'll just hook to his Shadow Fiend. Kabu says, "Get me out of here, Johnny," and gonna allow him to do so. And now Kabu picking up a regen rune. Now it's a plate mail. So freaking tanky. I cannot stress enough how hard it is going to be to kill this Clockwork in the team fights, and how annoying he will be when they're not killing him.
Well, Shadowfiend says, my Aegis is about to run out, guys. Should we look for that tier 2, or... Looks like they're going to go back for a little bit of extra farm, but if you look at farm, it's up to 2,700 gold. This is after a Shadowblade BKB on 25 minutes in. I talked about him being able to snowball. We're really witnessing that. The question is Morphling able to carry them back? Again, like we talked about, Lion forces him to go Lincoln Sphere, and he's not going to be a factor for much longer. Clockwork, using it as a movement. Did he hook here? No, he's just hooked to the top lane. But here comes a big gank from Orange.
And something
I'm not sure it's going to work.
And something we've seen is that Lincoln Sphere isn't necessarily that effective on Morphling against Lion, because sure, he's got to cast one spell first to remove it, but he can simply just blink in Hex you and then immediately impale, or blink in Monodrain. They're going to go with an RP. Boy, you know you're desperate for a kill when you blow everything to kill Kabu. They blow the RP. They have 4 heroes waiting there. They do get space for their team, and any space they can buy, any breathing room they can buy while that Aegis is down is going to be precious, but... It's still a long way for Orange. Not out of this one yet, but look at the gold graph. 10k gold deficit, 13k gold deficit, and the bigger thing is Mushi went Lincolns, which doesn't really help you fight in a 5v5 clash. It's more of a split pushing item, more of a farming item. The Templar Assassin going BKB, that will be a big pickup, but still, there's a lot of physical damage. So Orange is a long way from fighting. I would say at least 10 to 15 minutes before they can take a 5v5 clash head on, unless suddenly Rattlesnake just feed their team away 2 or 3 times, but don't really see that happening.
Yeah, that was a very desperate gank up top, but a very smart gank at that as well. They get that gank off, especially when the Aegis is running out on Shadowfiend. And normally you say, RP is down, let's go push mid, but they don't want to do that, especially without Aegis. And of course, Morphling pushing that creep wave, forcing at Shadowfiend to at least go to defend the tier 2. So I think they bought themselves quite a bit of time, and their RP is going to, well, have 43 seconds, and they're going to have it for the next defense should Shadowfiend choose to push. So I think Orange bought themselves at least 3 or 4 minutes. Rattlesnake might say, all right, let's wait for the next Roshan, and that might be enough time for, let's say, Morphling to go up to Yasha. No, looks like he's going to be going for Shotgun. So looking to pick off some of the squishy supports. The thing is, there is no squishy supports because Rattlesnake, they're pretty fast. Shadow Demon's got that 4-staff, so he's going to be really difficult to track down. Lion with Blink, he's not going to get picked off as well. So I'm not sure how much this shotgun build is going to do for Mushi.
Yeah, we'll find out. I mean, just the casual Ghost Scepter is always an option. It gives you pretty solid stats. What is it, +8? No, +7 to all stats. Yeah. And I mean, Ethereal Form will be nice against Omni Slash if you ever get caught alone by the Juggernaut. That first Slash will be blocked by Lincolns, but the rest won't. So it can do a lot of damage to you. And likely your Lincolns will be on cooldown anyway in a fight. I think it's okay. Getting a completed Ethereal Blade, that might be what Orange needs. Because, I mean, yeah, they've got this lineup that you would think at this point in the game wants to fight with a mag, with some good AoE from their supports and lots of lockdown spells. But realistically, I don't think they can take head-on clashes. So Ethereal Blade, maybe the game plan is... Orange is probably looking at this game and saying, hey, we just need to get need to get pickoffs and stall the game like we did against LGD and that epic 70-minute game to some extent and draw it out until we can take the fights. And a Lincoln Sphere item that could do that as Lamb jumps in just a split second slow. Mushi was already gone. Now he's headed top. And they want to push mid, but they're going to do it without that Aegis.
Yeah, the other big thing that EB gives you is a ton of damage. A ton of damage that Orange Esports doesn't have right now. Your Templar Assassin's not hitting for Jack Squad. And of course, Magnus, aside from his spells, his physical damage output is non-existent either. But Rattlesnake says, we're not going to wait for the Aegis. We're going to go for the tier 2, riding our momentum. And they get it for free. No challenges whatsoever. The difficult thing comes up from this tier 3 push because Shockwave spam, Lightning spam, not only are your creep waves going to die, that's going to buy Mushi a ton of time for him to actually pressure tier 2. I don't think they were going to get this tier 3 push off, and they got to back off.
Yeah, maybe they just wait for that next Aegis and then force the issue. They've been going for items that will help you push on their carries. Icy going for that Mantle style. Shadowfee going for a Butterfly, which isn't really the best pushing item, but it's still a pretty good one. That attack speed will help you. Because you have such big damage innately, attack speed is the more effective way to raise your DPS, and along with Critical Strike, you already have that huge damage coming from Necromastery. So, Rattlesnakes, they're going for items that once they get that next Aegis, perhaps they just bull rush the tower. Even when the creep wave dies, just say, screw it, let's hit it a few more times. The backdoor protection won't kick in for a little bit after the creep wave dies, and you can do some decent chip damage. We'll see a Butterfly coming soon on Lao. They're going to rotate into the bottom lane Mushi. I imagine we're going to see those Spidey senses tingling right after this creep. He'll probably back and he will do so now.
And he does. And having, you know, replicate up is so, and Lincoln Sphere, in conjunction, he would never really die. Big smoke gank up top, or not even a smoke gank. Again, if they get this kill with RP, sure, it might be an RP expended, but they buy themselves a ton of time. Drum charge being used as well. Blink RP, they just gonna see him downward, pick him up, Spliff on top, and no! Spliff too slow, he spins, he's on the run, he's got Manta, he's got everything. He is gonna make it out, TP up there as well. That's an RP down. I think that's an invitation for the mid-racks.
Well, it might be, but they don't have that Aegis yet. Something that they may be looking at. Mushi gets caught. He actually waveforms away, but he gets caught by the hooks. Now he's inside of Ghost Scepter, which doesn't help you against Battery Assault, as it is magical damage. But, well, Kabu says, I'm not going in on this one. Mushi is pretty tanky by... Not something I could take down by myself, this massive water creature. And indeed, he was correct, as his team said no. We'd much rather go Roche. We know RP is down. So they will get the Roshan, but RP should be coming online, I think, right about the time that they get to the base after Roche.
It depends on whether Luo says, I want to take a heal trip, and it looks like he doesn't need to. He's pretty low in terms of mana, but that's what the Aegis is for, so they
still have Glyph. They still have Glyph, so I think it'll be pretty close.
And about this push that's going to be coming in, I think this game, despite being the huge goal deficit that Orange is facing right now, 12,000, the game is a lot closer than that, because the late game potential that LD talked about previously, if Rattlesnake doesn't get some significant structural damage done right now, I think the Radiant team has a chance to come back. As Morphling, you can see that he's not defending. He's going to split push, and sooner or later, he's going to get some tier 2 damage. He might even take that tier 2. And Rattlesnake got to make this push count.
Bit of a pause here. Not sure what Haoka means, but Lumi, maybe you could translate as our resident Chinese?
I don't know.
No, okay. Well, either way, like you said, it's a big lead for Rattlesnake now, but this push is crucial. I think they should be able to take the tower, at least if they just play it safely. We'll see the Glyph forced out. You're going to have to buy time for that RP to cool down. So I imagine we'll see RP cooling now when the melee racks is probably starting to take some damage of his own. We'll have to see if Rattlesnake forced the fight or not. Remember, if Mag gets caught by a hook and Cogs, this fight's basically over. He has to be able to find a good RP for them to be able to take the fight, because Lao sitting on a Butterfly and an Aegis, and they don't have a Hex on Orange. Bringing him down is going to be tough. There's no MKB, there's no Hex to remove evasion, there's no Chronosphere or anything like that. Lao is going to be tanky, and on top of that, he's got 2 lives. And then you look at, well, there's a Healing Ward, there's a Juggernaut who's got lots of survivability with Blade Fury, with Omni Slash. They're going to have probably 2 rounds of Manta Style over the course of this push. It's going to be close, and I think it all just hinges on Kabu. Can he find this Magnus in the team fight? Can he start the fight so that Magnus is forced to counter-initiate? Or will Orange, for once in this game, get the jump?
Kabu or Lamb, right? I mean, Blink Dagger with initiation, Force Staff, Shadow Demon initiation.
That's true. I like him going better. I like him going in second better, though. He's dead once he jumps in.
I mean, he's dead, but if you kill the Magnus, then the entire Orange team is dead.
That's true.
There's no way to fight Luo.
It's got to be for the Mag, though, because does he have buyback? No, he doesn't.
It doesn't, yeah.
Morphling will, though.
Well, here's the thing. I think if Orange cannot engage. They will lightning spam, they will shockwave spam, and all this stuff. If Magnus gets picked off, Orange just loses flat out now, because they're going to lose the racks, perhaps even 2 racks mid. So Rattlesnake's going to just walk into your base and do whatever the hell they want. It's with the Shadow Stream and fun. Even if they lose a Lion, of course, Clockwork is going to still give you the initiation. And you got to keep in mind, there's still a Shadow Demon disruption, like, on top of everything. How are you going to kill the Shadow Fiend 2 times, 3 times? It's going to be very, very tough. And I think Rattlesnake senses the confidence. They're going to walk in, take the Rex basically for free, and as long as they only eat like a 4-man RP, they should be fine.
As long as it's only a 4-man. I mean, not often do you that far ahead, but we'll see, Lumi, as they look to break the base. The Healing Ward already deployed. The Creep Wave won't be long for this world, but it's really all about the heroes at this point. The carries just jumping in, throwing the Manta-style illusions in, as well as the Shadow Fiend, chipping away from the low ground. Does have that miss chance, but it's okay. He's still doing a lot of work. Healing Ward keeping him alive. Something they would love to snipe. They're looking for the opening. KYXY, he has RP online. They've actually still Rattlesnake longer than I thought they would, just because Rattlesnake doesn't have the Creep Wave to force. They have so much spam. There's no mech, there's no pipe, and that is delaying this push. If Rattlesnake want to bring the racks down, they're going to have to do it with Manta-style illusions and Shadow Fiend as the hero chipping away, which means it can be done, but it's longer, and that might mean more opportunities for that Magnus RP, which, as mentioned, is now online.
The thing is, they forced Mushi to TP back, so he's not pressuring anything. He's going to try to go mid again. Of course, the Healing Ward, that's going to be a replacement for the mech/pipe, which did a lot of work, but now going off cooldown again. I think they're going to try it one more time. Mushi is going to look towards to take that tier 1 on the mid, which is a half HP. But for now, Rattlesnake, again, I feel like they could just walk up, but...
Oh, this is big. He's about to have Ethereal Blade. If he gets that tower, if they win this fight, suddenly he'll be able to pick off heroes like Lion, like Shadow Demon on his own in the upcoming engagement. Both of those sitting around 800, 900 HP, but here we go. The siege will happen now. Mag sitting very far back. He's eating Shadow Poison. His Blink Dagger is available now, but constant rocket spam is disabling it. He's going to have to do this the hard way, Lumi. Mushi takes the tier 1. Mushi, if he wants the Ethereal Blade, he has it now, but he is saving for buyback. He knows if he dies and doesn't have buyback, maybe they lose 2 lanes of Rex. Are they just going to forfeit this Rex? Maybe that's the game plan from Orange. Just give this Rex up. It's going to be too hard to take it, but there is backdoor protection. There's no more creeps here. There's your lift on the Clockwork. Starting off the fight, the Split Earth again missing. Extinct normally on the mark, but that was not the case this game. Mushi has rejoined the fight mid. Mushi's in the front lines now. He's got 3,800 gold. They'll kill off the creep wave. The Healing Ward cooling down. And Rattlesnake still haven't really committed. They're just chipping away and doing a lot of damage in the process. Rex now at half HP.
And let's see if Rattlesnake's going to go back again. The Healing Ward is off cooldown in 8 seconds. That Healing Ward is doing so much work. You talked about the lack of mech. You talked about the lack of pipe. No other team could make this push against Shockwave, against Waveform, against Lightning without that Healing Ward. And, well, it's showing its worth. There's the illusions being created. And that illusion from Shadow Fiend, it might have burned the Aegis. He's taking a ton of damage.
KYXY.
He's going to get healed back up, though.
KYXY is really thinking about going in, and here he'll go. He catches out too, but it's really far from the base. I think an overextension. He'll just melt. No backup whatsoever. Now the hook catches Ohio, and a disaster of a team fight will ensue as Omni Slash chews through those refraction charges, brings her down. Mushi, no E-Blade. We will see a buyback from Ohio, but without RP, how do you fight against the Shadow Fiend? This might just be 2 lanes of Rex. An easily won. No way to contest it anymore. There was some serious team miscommunication. Either Ohio just went in when he shouldn't have. We're going to see another blink in. That's a 3-hero impale after a blink. Oh, man. Buyback from Rubik. BKB from Ohio. If he dies again, he's dead for a long time. Requiem being channeled. He's unwinded. He won't get it off. He'll get zapped down. Mushi now up to 4k gold. If he gets a couple kills, maybe they could give this up this Rex. Turn around, but Mushi going to be forced to use that buyback now. He'll take a fall. He'll buy back immediately, and Lumi, this fight just not looking good for Orange. Some big miscommunication and lack of teamwork there.
I mean, KYXY was not forced to drop the RP at all. It's not like they were going on the melee Rex. He jumped down on the hill and tried to engage when his allies, which, by the way, didn't have Blink Dagger, so they couldn't follow up, even if you got a 2-3 man RP. So that was one of the most egregious example of an unforced error I've seen from KYXY. He's normally very unclutch with his play, but the pressure is really getting to them when the enemy team is constantly outside of your base, and you really don't seem to have a way to come back. It seemed bad, and now it seems even worse. Rattlesnake did lose the Aegis, but they got a lot more. They got, what, 4 buybacks out of that team fight, as well as a BKB charge of Templar Assassin.
And yeah, that was a big win for them. Look at the gold graph as well. Now up to 20k experience lead for both gold and experience. And I mean, it gets harder from here. Now Shadow Fiend, he's going to have that next item up to 5k gold. Oh, man. Once you get the dual Manta styles on your carries, good luck. I mean, they can just siege at that point.
Do you think he's going to go Manta or go for Lifesteal? I mean, looks like it's going to be a Manta. I was going to suggest Lifesteal because he's seemingly having a little bit of difficulty on the front lines to tank all the Shockwave and all that stuff, even with the Healing Ward. But he's like, you know what? I'll just out-siege you guys.
I think they both work. I mean, Manta, then your hero doesn't have to be on the front lines. Helm of the Dominator, maybe Satanic, then you could just heal off of enemy heroes. So either way, keeps your main hero pretty safe.
Yeah, Manta, the thing is, those illusions will die very quickly due to just spam as well, but it seems like he doesn't care. He's going to have Manta go right now, finishing this neutral camp, and they're going to just walk in, and there's a big smoke. RP is back up. I think this is a correct decision.
I like this.
To take a fight away from your base to kind of at least try to take them by surprise. We'll see if it's going to work, though.
Rattlesnake letting the creeps start clashing first. They're positioning themselves behind Lao. It seems like they're prepared for this. They're going to use some Split Earth to come through the trees. The auto attack from Net is actually going to start the fight. Meanwhile, Blink RP catches out 2 key heroes. Lao, oh no, he's getting the ult off. He's doing some work. He's on the run. The Omni Slash still going, still slicing and dicing, and now they'll get 3. They're looking for more. Mushi on the run. There will be another hook. There will be another Blink. Kabu, he's got the hook. He's got the cogs. He's waiting. He's looking. He'll throw it now. The kill will be there. That's 4 dead, and that is probably game. It is.
That is game. I'm not sure why Net auto attack out of his hiding spot. That forced KYXY to jump in because, I mean,
yeah, the jig is up.
Right, they had to jump. The surprise factor's gone. So, and that wasn't the RP they were looking for. So, Didn't look good. Rattlesnake will take it quite convincingly, I might add, but good display from Rattlesnake. I don't think they made a single mistake this game, I want to say.
And what's scary about Rattlesnake is they're doing it with such weird lineups. Like, what are you going to do? Ban Juggernaut? Ban Lion? I mean, they're not doing it with these obvious, like, strong picks that most of the other Asian teams are. Lone Druid, you know, these heroes that are so versatile, so dominant throughout the game. Yes, some of these heroes are strong, but Rattlesnake they just have such an unusual style of drafting and picking. I think you got to just start banning what they're using right now. Force them to use something different, even if it is potentially really strong heroes, because, I mean, it just works too well for them. The Darkseer, the Clockwork, especially the Kabu Clockwork, above all else, he has just been so effective, and he's played this hero every single match for them, I think, in the G1 League.
Nobody bans Clockwork, because why would you, right?
Yeah, Cogs aren't a good spell, apparently.
I mean, they're good, but not good enough for the first 4 bans, right? So, I don't know. I'm with you there. Maybe you do start banning out of Clockwork, but Rattlesnake will take game number 1 in this best-of-3 series. We are in phase 3 of the G1 League qualifiers, and right now Rattlesnake looking poised to get the entire series from Orange Esports.
Yeah.
Game 2 will be coming up soon.
Yeah, Game 2 is coming up soon. Remember, the matches don't get easier. LGD China, LGD and the other teams in this group. So Orange, they really need to at least force a deciding Game 3 here. Can they do it? We'll find out right after this. I'm LD, he's Luminous. Stay tuned for more action coming up soon.